Well, I totally hit the wrong buttons there. Hello. Hi. Hi. You guys, the snow has melted. It has done nothing but rain all day. The snow is gone, yet somehow, it is colder today than it was yesterday. So, yesterday, complete blanket of snow, not so cold. Today, rain, no snow, freezing. Oh. So, I might have to take a couple of breaks during this stream just to go and fetch a warm drink to keep my Donnies warm. Because the thingies, they is cold. Okay, so yesterday we managed to finish off Justice for All, the last chapter. So we're going to start Trials and Tribulations today and see how far we get. So I think there's 5 chapters in this game altogether. I'm going to try and get all the achievements as I go through. So yeah, shall we start? Shall we go? I think it's a good idea. Okay, so we're gonna grab a hold of what I need here. I'm just gonna move some things out of my way because I need a bigger desk. I keep saying this, but I 100% need a bigger desk. Okay, let's grab the game. There it is. Hello, Trials and Tribulations. Okay, let's see what the third game is all about. Okay, Turnabout Memories. Cool. Let's play Turnabout Memories then. Okay. Oh, it's raining. That feels familiar. How did I get into this mess? I don't know. What mess are we in? Who are you? Why? Why did I do that? Why did you do what? Oh. Ow. I need to cut my nails. That girl. You shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Oh. Did I hit someone? Oh dear. It wasn't me. I didn't... Are we on trial? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I didn't do it. I definitely didn't do it. What's happening? Oh no. 5 years earlier, Mia Fey, second trial. Okay. Phew, it's finally time. I'm kind of nervous. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, good morning. Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behaviour, you know. What are you talking about? I am relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me. I'm relaxed. Let go of my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer. Rude. I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today. Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I'm Marvin Grossberg. I'm at your service. Actually, this is my second time in court. Still, you surprised me. What with your earnest request last night? Let me handle this case, you suddenly said, and quite forcefully too. I just found out yesterday. About the case, I mean. What? And you've already learned all of the relevant facts? What about that, you see? I mean, of course I have, I think. Oh dear. In any case, don't let our client see you so nervous. You see the poor young man over there in the pink sweater over there? That's our client. Good morning there, everyone. Okay, so this is 5 years ago. Right. Okay. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I just want to say I'll give it all I've got. It'll be fine. No problem. Oh dear. Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something, Mr. Wright? Actually, it's Wright. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. And yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says. Right, Mr. Wright, you have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you. Please let go of my shirt. That's right. He's the one on trial, not you. He's the one that should be nervous. You need to stay strong for your client, Mia. My name is Mia Fay. I'm still pretty new at this lawyer thing. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. But that trial traumatized me so badly, I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. It's been 1 year since then, and well, here I am again. But this time I'm going to win. For my client and for myself. Okay. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. The defence is ready, Your Honour. The prosecution is ready, Your Honour. The defence today is Miss Mia Fay, was it? Yes, Your Honour. Is there a problem? I was just under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was to be leading the defence. Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency. Emergency? But isn't that him standing there right next to you? Yes, well, you're just a rookie. Are you sure you can really handle this? Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Of course, Your Honour. I think. Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please. Well. I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defence lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It will all be over soon. What was that all about? Is he trying to trash talk me? Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology. Sounds like he was a very bright young man. Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. Students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body and the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway. Then they called the police. That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence. Okay, so we have court. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. So what do we have? We have a broken electrical line, a floating umbrella. What else? Okay. Your reputation for saga. I have never seen that word before. Is it sagacity? Or sagacity? Is well earned, Your Honour. What? Is it I don't even know what that word is. Let's just leave that where it is. The truth is that this victim died a rather unusual death. An unusual death? What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question. Huh? A simple question. I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I am a genteel man, if you will. A what? Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of. Ah, a perfect opportunity. Well, what was it? The cause. Go on. Please say you know at least this much. I'm so sorry, I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file. My hemorrhoids are beginning to act up. Okay. This is retraining us how to use the system, I assume. Now, see here. The details of the case are filed under the court record. Okay. Yeah, this is the standard first chapter. Does seem to be showing you or retraining you in how to play the game. Okay, so the details of the case are filed under the court record. But you knew that already, didn't you? The court record. I think I can see that by pressing the tab. All of the weapons we need can be found in the court record. Take a good, hard look at the data in there and think carefully before you answer, my dear. Yes, sir, I'll do just that. Got to stay calm. I can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. The court record. Okay, let's take a look. I just pressed the tab here. Okay, so let's have a look. What have we got? Okay, so we know the cause of death was a fatal electric shock. I'm assuming from the broken electrical line. Whose is the bent umbrella? Is it his or mine? And they're the only real things. Okay, so let's go with then. Okay, now then. Would the attorney for the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death? Well, it was electrocution then. According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution. Electrocution. But how could such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some sort of new, super powerful stun gun, perhaps? Okay, the answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honour. But before that, there is one more vital issue. What's that? Why, motive, of course. Apparently, there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant. Bad blood? What do you mean? Oopsie, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this. I really don't like this guy's smug attitude. That's Winston Payne for you. He's one smooth operator, if you catch my drift. They don't call him the Rookie Killer for nothing, you know. Now then, let's hear from the defence. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? And this time, I would like to see some supporting evidence. Evidence? No need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need and then shove it into old Greybeard's face. Yes, sir, into old Greybeard's face. Mr. Grosberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing in the court record. People's profiles are as well. You can toggle between profiles and evidence with the tab. Be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you've got. What was the cause of the bad blood between Phoenix Wright and the victim? Okay, so I'm assuming then, okay, so my superior and the head of the Grosberg Law Offices, my client, third-year art student, has called. The victim was a fourth-year pharmacology student at Ivy University. Dahlia Hawthorne, Phoenix Wright's girlfriend. Oh, I didn't know we ever had a girlfriend. I dated the victim, Doug Swallow, until 8 months ago. Okay, so it's bound to be her then, because that's the lawyer. So let's present her. The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here. Dahlia Hawthorne, is it? Very good, Miss Fay. You seem to have picked up on at least this much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until about 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly, she has some part to play in this story. He's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well, Mr. Payne. Please call your first witness. If it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? The defendant himself? Well, Miss Fay? It's fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? Okay, the defense has no objection. Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh, yes. My name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now I guess I'm a suspect. No, he means what did you do before you were arrested? Oh dear. I was a university student. Mr. Wright, you understand that you are suspected in the death of your fellow student? But I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. I'm telling you I was... Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his calls to the rest of us? It seems the witness has something he wants to say. Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about your relation to the victim. Right away, Your Honour. Okay. The victim and I. I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. I see. So you hardly knew the victim. Right, like I said, I'm not a killer. Phew. It looks like the judge understands. You're being naive, you know. Too naive. Huh? It seems that you've forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be? This witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination. Cross-examination? He's right, and it's the defence's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if a witness's testimony contains any contradictions. Contradictions? If a witness is lying, their statements will conflict with the court record. But Mr. Wright is my client. Even if he is your client, in court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see. What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now, that there was a lie, a contradiction? Now then, your cross-examination, if you please, Miss Fay. Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? Okay. Okay, so if you knew that the only thing that didn't make any sense in this was never even talked to the stuck-up British wannabe. How did you know you wanted to be British if you'd never spoken to him? Question. Mr. Wright, you stated the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right. I mean, why would I even... But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright... No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear. Mr. Wright, I will give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt. Okay. Is that true? Do we have... He doesn't have a Union Jack on the back of that shirt. So maybe we... Are you certain you saw the Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back. Miss Fay, is there some point to this line of questioning? Your Honour, please take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back. Hey, wait a minute. He's wearing a leather jacket. The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that was really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You'd have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me. Please forgive me. Okay. Mia, you made our client cry. Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyways. Can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong. And that was an impressive bit of cross-examination. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime. Uh-oh. Did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medication for it? Or any medicine? Yeah, I took some, but... Was the medicine that you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X? Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How did you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? Or would you happen to have that medicine with you right now? Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. He lost it? Does this even have anything to do with the case? Mr. Wright, shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now? Huh? Your Honour, I'd like you to take another look at the another photo from the crime scene. What's this? In the victim's hand. It's Cold Killer X. Objection! Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid the argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to. Especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it. What? Okay, so we've got an extra crime scene photo and a bottle of painkillers by the sounds of it. Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright, and hid it in his hand. His purpose in doing so can only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright. Order in the court. Your Honour, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence. Very well, the court will accept them into the record. Okay. Okay. Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken. Broken? Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all of this? This is really bad. Oh, my buttocks. My poor, poor hemorrhoids. Why are we talking about your hemorrhoids, dude? Now is not the time. Okay, what really happened? The truth is, it went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. We talked for a bit, and then around 3 we split up. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. I'd been taking cold killer X for the last 2 or 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. Mr. Wright, that's completely different from the testimony you gave previously. I'm sorry, Your Honour. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth. You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible. Miss Fay, please begin your cross-examination. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, don't tell any more lies. Okay, what really happened? So, the truth is I went because he called me, okay? Let's ask some questions. Had you ever met the victim before then? No, never. But that day he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly. And this Dolly person is my, it's kind of embarrassing. She's my, sweetheart. Who talks like that? What? What was that for, Mia? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden. Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is. So it was one of those nasty love triangles. I see. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. Okay. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45? Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist? I see. I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. Oh, how fascinating. He sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man. What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for more details. Ask about... I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department. Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said that the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so there are high voltage cables everywhere. High voltage cables? Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. We talked for a bit, and then around 3 we split up. Okay. So what was it you were talking about? You know, that maybe we should hang out again sometime. Hang out again sometime. I wish that were true. Then later when I went back, I found him lying there. Why did you go back? So you say you went back? Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. I've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days. Okay. It's rather unusual to catch cold this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh? I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. But I lost my bottle around lunchtime on the day of the accident. Okay. On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the 2 of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelettes are magically delicious. Why did you punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death, and then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? I knew it was too much work for a little girl. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honour. How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, You are correct, Your Honour. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. We can establish the murder method. It was those broken cables above his head. Your Honour. Yes, Miss Fay? I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive. Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgotten about that. Okay. Now then, Miss Fay, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. Okay. Can I just present that? As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. What? But there is nothing that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defence is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Fay, where exactly in this photo is the murder weapon? Well, it's here, of course. Here? Well, naturally, it's right here. That's... What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honour. Remember the testimony we've heard? The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage, and because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then, the high voltage cable? Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now. The victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant. Okay. That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides a medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. And as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. You mean... Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand. What? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable. Well, this is not good, is it? Order, that's enough. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us, or we're done. Mr. Grosberg, my hemorrhoids never lie. This show is over, Mia. But you have some sort of like psychic hemorrhoids, dude. What the hell? I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. Your Honour, at this time, I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. No, object. Object, Mia. Do you have something further to add, Miss Fay? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't. I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Miss Fay, no matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. I love his little squeaky objection. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Wait a minute, Mr. Wright. I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright. There's no need for further... I did it. I admit it. I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. Okay, what did you do, Phoenix? What did you do? That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. What's the matter with Dahlia? Because we've already had this argument. So what's wrong with Dahlia? What do we need to know about her? Oh, the plot thickens. So this is where we pushed him. Don't talk about her like that. Push. I mean, that's a hell of a push, Phoenix. Come on now. That's basically like shoving, not just pushing. What you just said, was that the truth? Was it, Phoenix? Was it the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Faye? I believe in you. Oh, thank you. I still can't believe it. He really did push the victim. It feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake. Gross. Okay, when I pushed the victim, that guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. Shove is the right word. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried, so I went back. But he was just lying there, dead. Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That's true. Even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Faye. Interesting. Let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. I'll be clear on that. Yes, Your Honour. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. So what was the loud noise you heard, Phoenix? When I pushed the victim, he was talking bad about Dolly. He lost his temper and gave him a shove. Okay, I heard a loud noise. A loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like, snap. You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was. This guy with his weird comb over. Clearly, Your Honour, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. Objection! You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Keep going. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. So try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Could it have been... Yes, could it have been... hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it, and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well, of course it's important. This is it, Mia, the new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important, it's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. A perfectly fitting, flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. Rude. The court agrees to the defence's request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. After I shoved him, he fell down on top of his cheap umbrella. Okay. Well, he didn't though, did he? Because he must have moved. Because this umbrella's far, far away. Far, far away.
Objection!
Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on. If I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. Order, order, order. The victim, he moved. Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want it presented as evidence immediately. Okay, so we have a broken umbrella now. But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind.
Objection!
According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. No. No. I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Okay, so well done, Mia. Okay, now you're back to laughing, Mr. Payne. What are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honour. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess. You have another witness? Exactly. And this witness's testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who is this witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honour. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. What? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Okay. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's all right. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah, so I guess I can start to relax then, huh? Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Oh, okay. Sorry. G-Man. I did not know there was a separate... Let me just see if I can find it. Okay. I will... Thanks for that. I've just updated my my category just on a recommendation from chat there. So sorry about that. I will get back to the game presently. Sorry, my for some reason my chat notifications don't come through every single time. It's a bit of a pain. Okay, so that's updated, so that's good. You've done that. Okay, she'll save me. I just know she will. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life, that's why. The love of your life, huh? Would you not mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer, on the side anyway. One day, she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. On the day you met. Really? She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she said, I want you to carry this. So she gave it to you as a present. I see. This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little Dolly. It certainly is a little bottle, all right. It makes me so happy I show it to everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world. Okay. Anyway. So after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. What a strange girl, asking for a present back like that. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to have been on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was. But how did you... This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse. What's this? A newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the courthouse. A murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there is some connection between these two cases, am I correct? Okay. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself. Ah, yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go and have a look in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. Well, it looks like recess is about over. We'd better all get moving. I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though. Okay. Awesome. So let's save and get on with part 2 of the trial. I'm going to keep a completely separate save file for this one. Okay. Okay. So let's get on with the trial. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness. Oh, okay, let me get comfy for this. It's so cold, you guys. It's so cold. Oh, okay. Witness is on the way in. Ooh. This next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand. Oh, she's all about the butterflies then. What's with this stiff silence? In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many witnesses. It's my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you radiate a glow of complete serenity. No serenity. She does give a glow of complete serenity. Sincerity is what he said. I can't believe he actually said that. Oh, now then, witness, could you please state your full name? Don't worry, sweetie, there's no need to be nervous. If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size. And I will bash them with my gavel. Uh-huh. I love how they look straight at me when they say that. Thank you for calming my nerves. You are also nice. I almost feel right at home. Not at all. It was nothing. If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say it's an honour for me to be here in your noble presence. The honour is all mine. No, the honour is all mine. Well, we know whose milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Yes, we do, don't we? Sir? Is there something I can help you with? You just go on and say whatever is on your mind. I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone, I just know it. Yes, I can see why you'd say that. She's going to be a tough witness, all right. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please. Okay, what we witnessed. Let's see. What do we have today? I had been planning to go back to Feeny's place after class was over. Feeny and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then, suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeny noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities. I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong. Young lady, as old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of young passion can burn. Nevertheless, It is my job to discover the truth. Please tell us the truth. But I would never. That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue. What do you mean by that? Please just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honour. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. You haven't changed a bit, Mia Fey. What's this? So you two are acquainted? Yes, we've met before, once. In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours. It's good to see you again, Madame Fey. Madame, I'm no one's grandma yet, girlie. Okay, what I witnessed. Okay, let's start pressing on a few things then. I had been planning to go back to Phoenix place. Now, unless I'm mistaken, Mr. Wright is in the art department. If that's the case, then what were you doing by the pharmacology building? Well, I'm in the literature department. I'm studying Japanese Senryu poetry. Oh, how wonderful. It's that humorous yet satirical style of haiku, yes? Nothing left to do. When a man reaches this age, sleep is his best friend. That's supposed to be poetry. Sounds more like a midlife crisis. For me to get to the art department, I have to walk through that back area. Ah, yes, I see. That makes sense. When I want to enter the courthouse, I always walk through the front doors. How else would you enter? Teleportation. Feeney and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Okay. Do you know what they were talking about? So, who is this Dougie person? Oh, I'm sorry. Doug Swallow. We were dating until about 8 months ago. So what were Dougie, Mr. Swallow and Mr. Wright talking about anyway? How can you be so mean? I would never eavesdrop. I wasn't raised to be so rude and unrefined. That's right, Miss Fey. Don't drag the witness down to your level. Why am I being demonized here? Please, go on. What did you see next? Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. Did he though? Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own? Yes. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim? Is that right? I was watching the whole time. Feeney never did a thing to Dougie. If I press her for no good reason, I just know the judge will get angry with me. So what should I do about her testimony just now? Well, we know that there's fingerprints on the jacket, so do we have that? Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we? What? I would never. Miss Fey, I will not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defence is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting... Please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job. Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Mr. Wright did, in fact, push the victim. What? There's no need to try and cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth. There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything that you saw. Yes, Your Honour, I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony. Looks like we're finally getting somewhere. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. Okay. It didn't look like they were fighting, and I didn't hear anything unusual either. Okay. Okay. So you didn't hear anything either, so... But there was a loud sound.
Objection!
You say you didn't hear anything unusual. Is that correct? Yes, that's why I was very relaxed, looking at the scenery around me. That's nice, but I find that just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright, and he clearly testified to this effect. That when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise. He said that. If you were really that close to the two of them, why didn't you hear this noise as well? Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable.
Objection!
But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise like a snap. There's no way a noise like that could fail to make an impression. May I have a moment to answer? By all means. I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on and I was listening to music at the time. Okay, so you were listening to music. Awesome. Headphones? You mean that both of your ears were covered? That's what having headphones on usually means. The rain was just beginning to let up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble. Wait, it was thunder and lightning? Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of thunder. So I put my headphones on to block it out. Well, Your Honour, as you can see, there weren't any contradictions in her testimony after all. Wait a sec, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change this whole case. There was lightning. Your Honour, there's a problem with this witness's testimony. Well, what do you mean? She said there was lightning, correct? Yes, what about it? Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere. Am I right? Now is not the time for a science lesson, Miss Faye? Yes, Your Honour. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by a bolt of lightning? Oh. Okay. I must admit that the thought had not occurred to me. Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyway? This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered. But that very premise itself is mistaken. The defence believes that Mr. Swallow was, in fact, the victim of a stray bolt. It appears the defence may be onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental? Alright, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not good. I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Faye. Huh? I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honour. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location. What's more, We have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to this case. Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is this evidence? This affidavit. And who is this affidavit from? The pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in their labs that day. Allow me to read out to the court the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden around 3 p.m. that day. Was it a blackout? All of the lab's equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honour. So you're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m, which fits with the time of death listed in the autopsy report. Exactly. In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future. I see. Apparently the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break. Okay. However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it hadn't been bumped into, correct? Well, I suppose you could say that. Miss Fay, do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable? Your Honour? I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try and regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defence would like to state its opinion. Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cable to break? Okay. Okay. The old power cable broke due to an impact at 2:55. What else do I have that's got times on? The victim's watch stopped. Is that 3:05? Okay, so the times aren't all adding up. For a start. Okay. So, I suppose he did cause the cable to break. Your Honour, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony. The defendant's testimony. He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened at around 3 p.m, correct? Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that the lab equipment lost power at 2:55 p.m, which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline? In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. Yes, the prosecution also came to that same conclusion. And it was that very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted.
Objection!
I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne. Oh, what's that supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right. The victim banged into that pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break. Well, that makes sense. And then the victim was electrocuted. No. I'm sorry, Your Honour, but no. It doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into the far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by this severed cable in the foreground here. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Order, order in the court. The lamentations of my enemy. The lamentations of my enemy. How I have longed to hear them. It's true, the defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have... Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madame Attorney's explanation. She said some things that are a little different than I remember them. What? What the... Please, just once more. May I please testify one more time? Please, Mr. Judge? Of course, it's all right. Just go right ahead and give your new testimony. This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colours. Okay, so we've got one more testimony to get through, maybe. What I witnessed, part 2. Okay. The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. The first time was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him. But Feeney caught up and crashed into him from behind. The cable snapping and Doug being electrocuted, it all occurred in less than a minute. So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away. That can't be right because the timings don't make sense. The timings just don't make sense at all. And that is when the defendant pushed him for the second time. I'm so sorry, Feeney, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge? Well, I mean, of course he's not. Of course you are, my dear. As painful as it may seem, you are. Okay. Now then, Miss Fay, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Okay. So... The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. Miss Hawthorne, previously in your testimony you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to protect Feeney. So that's why you basically lied to the court? I was a bad girl. I know. Mr. Judge? Yes? Would you please forgive little old me? Of course he won't. What you did is called perjury. Oh, come now. It was just a little old white lie. We'll forget it this time. But please be more careful from now on, alright? Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Judge. Not at all. The judge had better be more careful himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl. Okay. So there's the first achievement of this game. we want to question the timings. All less than a minute doesn't make any sense, does it? The timing isn't right. It's just not right. That's enough, witness. I'm afraid I don't understand. You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture? Oh, that medicine. That's the one Phoenix likes to take for his cold. It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05 p.m. Yes, and your point is, Miss Faye? My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered that power outage due to the cable snapping? Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:55 p.m. Oh. Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defence proposes that it was during this interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow. This is nonsense. The real murderer. Even you can't deny that the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for. Then who was it? Who else are you saying could have done it? Well, there's only one person who could have murdered Miss Swallow. The only other person that was there, only after my client had left the scene. Was there a window of opportunity for the real killer? Miss Faye, is the defence ready to indict someone as this real killer? We surely are. We surely are. It's finally time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honour, we're ready. Very well. But remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalised. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. Now then, Miss Faye, let's have it. Who is the real killer? Okay. This. It could only have been you, Dahlia Hawthorne. What? How can you... The defence is grasping at straws. 10 minutes passed between the time of the cable broke and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing that whole time, Miss Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you. Order, order. Miss Faye. What? I mean, why? That is to say, Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting on that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his deaths by your very own hands. How can you say something so mean, Madame Faye? I didn't do anything. Miss Faye, this is a very serious charge, Your Honour. Your Honour, please, I have something I want to say. What is it? Please strike everything the defence just said just now from the record. What the? Are you daft? You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that. I don't think you know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, get back in your seat. Bailiff, grab that man. Achoo. Leave my dolly alone. Okay, he's got... That boy. He's gotten himself in way over his head. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, you're back. It seems I've arrived in just the nick of time. I found the police report on that incident in your newspaper clipping. Okay. Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for. You'd better take a good look at it. It, details how you came to lose your boyfriend. Now then, the defense has made a very serious accusation. But first, the defense would like to look at this case file, actually. Okay, District Courthouse Cafeteria, August 27th. Diego Armando, occupation lawyer, suspect Dahlia Hawthorne. Armando ingested poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's coffee cup. Okay, so Dahlia, little Miss Dahlia, is a poisoner? Is she poisoning Phoenix's cold tablets? Is that what's happening? Okay. The defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, really, Your Honor, May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor? Don't you worry, my dear. I have this situation well in hand. I don't think you do. That is, go right ahead. Madame Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie? Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Duck Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Miss Phoenix Wright. I told you you should let me handle this. Ugh, sorry. Please go ahead. How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Phoenix. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. This is all just too much for poor little me to bear. I believe the girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be. The answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must. 8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then, that same day, the two of them accidentally meet. The poison's in that bottle. Your Honour, the defence requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Further testimony? What about? About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What could that possibly have to do with this case?
Objection!
The witness claims that she had no reason to frame the defendant, am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, had a very good reason. Very well then, the court grants the defence's request. Young lady, would you mind staying on for just a little bit longer? Of course not, Mr. Judge. Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne. How I met my Feeny. I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day. We were so lovey-wovey, we literally made people sick. It's just jealousy, I think. He's got her poison, Mr. Wright. Do that again and you will be held in contempt of court. And now we enter the final act of our little drama. As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her. Okay, so let's find out That's not a problem, but why was she in the courthouse exactly? The courthouse reading room. That's a strange place to meet the love of your life. That's not true, Madame Faye. After all, Feeney was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What was a literature student like you doing in a courthouse reading room? This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case. Miss Faye, I'm warning you. If this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case, I have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. Better tread carefully. I want to keep going though. Your Honour, if you'll allow me some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue on with her testimony. Very well, young lady. I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room? If it pleases your Honour, the answer is simply this. I had come to this courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing. Oh, that's not true because we've got the... She was here being interviewed as a suspect. Objection. Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason? What is the meaning of that cocky smile on your face, Miss Faye? 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy. Another tragedy? Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned? The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in this report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? Yes. The sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago. Okay. Order, order, order. This is unbelievable. It's true then. The luckiest road. Miss Faye, that's not fair. You can't slander my witness with an unrelated case. I, Winston Payne, will not allow it. Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking. Pardon me? Go right ahead. It's true that about 8 months ago, the police expressed some interest in me. Expressed some interest, huh? Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago. I see. Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive. Well done, Mia. Ooh, you really lit a fire in my heart and my buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids. Please tell me it's your spirit. The poisoning. I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that. Okay. Weren't you dating somebody who was messing with chemicals? So that's what happened here 8 months ago. However, as you've heard from the witness's testimony, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defence is just about out of tricks. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defence has many more tricks up its sleeve today, and I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination. What the... Why does the defence suddenly feel stronger? Aha, Mia, You're glowing with a true lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence. Absolutely smashing. Okay, you would know how to get that because you were dating somebody who was a pharmacologist. Okay, so let's get to that bit. Not true. You were dating this guy. Objection. You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you. What? In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab. Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow? That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University. But pharmacology. His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have attained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, it seems you had access to such a poison after all. And then, it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting at his very table. You. Order, order, order. Could it be? That's nothing but a baseless... May I say something, Madame Faye? What is it, Miss Hawthorne? The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container. Well, yes, that's true. I was searched immediately after the incident took place. Quite true. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down. But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they? She's right. They even mentioned that in the report. Well, you could have easily gotten rid of something that small. Excuse me, madam, but this is a court of law. If you're saying I threw the poison container away, I think you need to show some kind of proof. Proof? She's got me good with that. Provide some evidence or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye. Unless we can come up with some evidence, we're going to lose this lead. The police conducted a full-body search of Dahlia and of the entire courthouse, and yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred. If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder, then where is the container the poison was carried in? What happened to it? It's here. You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched. Who is this person? Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course. So the defendant was this witness's accomplice? Of course not. She gave the poison to him disguised as a present. What? But that's... That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It's really quite cute. So what about it? What does this mean, Miss Faye? The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago, August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that would give her away. What? Are you saying there's a deadly poison in here? No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain that if the crime lab were to analyse it, they would find a trace amount. Order, order in the court.
Objection!
On behalf of Dolly, I object. Mr. Wright, control yourself. I won't let you bully her like this. Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat. Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her? Why? Because I'm madly in love with her. Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time. Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway? Rude. Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too. Mr. Wright, please open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is because of that necklace. She's trying to get it back. She's been asking you for it every day. Dahlia Hawthorne was not, and is not, madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. My necklace? Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. What a strange girl asking for a present back like that. For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying. But you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No, that's a lie. Mia, you are the defendant. Bailiff, hurry. Oh, it all went... Mia, are you alright? Yes, I think so. That boy, he went completely insane. Where's Mr. Wright? It looks like the bailiff caught him, so he should be back soon enough. Thank goodness. Oh no. What is it? The bottle necklace. Miss Hawthorne's present. It's gone. What? That's terrible. Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me. Foolish boy. That's the only thing that could have saved him. What in the blazes are we supposed to do now? What in the blazes, indeed. Mr. Wright, this sort of behaviour is unprecedented in the history of this court. I hate that word, unprecedented. After COVID, the word unprecedented should not exist. I'm sorry. I'm afraid that your apology is not enough. Mr. Wright, what did you do with the bottle necklace? Forgive me. I'm sorry. It's okay, just give back the necklace. I ate it. You what? You ate it? It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first. But yeah. Ugh. What the... What is he doing now? Your Honour, we've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? That bottle you swallowed may have had some poison left in it. It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly that bottle did not contain a deadly poison. How can you be so sure? I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination. So it would have seemed. No, there must be some mistake. The bottle must not have had any poison left in it. Either that or the poison must have lost its potency. There. It's all right, Rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney can do. And it's heartwarming to see that you placed this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that's how it is for us on the prosecution side too. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life, which is why I can state that your assessment of her is completely wrong. That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Fay, I cannot accept your explanation of the events. But why? This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand, but in a court of law, evidence is everything. Even after I proved so much, is she going to get away with everything? Well, now that the suspicion surrounding Miss Hawthorne has been cleared up, I would like to proceed with the trial. Mr. Wright. I'm sorry, Miss Fay. It totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believed in me, and I feel like I really let you down. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say? There's something I forgot to tell you. What is it? That day. The day I met Doug Swallow. That girl. You shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about her, that girl. Last night, someone stole poison from our lab. Poison? The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time too. It could only have been her. That girl is a thief. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Is it true? Did he really say that? That's ridiculous. There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. She was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him. What? She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but I'm sorry, Dolly. Your Honor, the defendant is Miss Fay. You tell them. Dolly didn't do it. She's innocent. So Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago too, huh? If you put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony, then there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believes that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed Doug Swallow. The night before. Naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone. Miss Fay, if you're so certain of your theory, then let me ask you this. Mia, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore, exactly who was Miss Dahlia Hawthorne planning to kill? Phoenix. There was one person that was standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way. And that person was Mr. Phoenix Wright. Me? That's preposterous. After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered. Well, it's true that that's how things worked out. But let's remember that Mr. Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Phoenix Wright. There's no one else that it could be. But how can that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love. Poor Mr. Wright. This must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice. I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cared about was the one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right. The bottle necklace, that's all she cared about. But even so, why? Why would she go as far as to murder him? Oh, 1 second. Let me just go and let the dog out before he makes a mess in the kitchen. Oh, nearly fell over myself then. Okay. Let's just give the dog a little treat. Boy, get in there. Okay, 8 months ago, just after the fall of that attorney in the basement cafeteria, Dahlia Hawthorne could think of only one thing: how to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible. No, it can't be. Poor Phoenix. It was a pretty good move she made too. The evidence was missing for a long time. But there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, the tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met. You mean that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright? Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence. That can't be true. Feeny, what a joke you are. Oh. Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me. Okay. 1 second, guys. I've just got to go and, actually... No, let's... I'll be back in a second. I've just got to go and get the dog some food. Or 1 second. Hello, sorry about that. The dog does pick his moments. I was going to end it, but then I thought we're not that far away from the end of this, I don't think. So let's just crack on with this until we get to the continue part. So you disgust me, Miss Hawthorne. It appears that we're nearing the end of this trial. Fine. I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say. You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne. We'll see about that. But first, where's your evidence? It seems your little snivelling crybaby of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack. Ugh. Well, hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face? Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you? Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. Judge? With absolutely no proof? You treat a voluntary witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now if you don't mind. But we're not finished. Fine. Then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already. I can't let her get away this time. Stop, Mia. If you keep on pushing without any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer. The ultimate price? You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid. No. You'd better think this over carefully, Miss Fay. Or should I say, Miss Grey? Well, Miss Fay, can you provide evidence that would establish her guilt once and for all? If I mess up here, my career as a lawyer is over. But to be honest, at this point, I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder. Your Honour, the defence would like to present proof. Impossible. You can't possibly. Okay, what do we have that's proof? Stupid woman. Maybe she poisoned the cold killer bottle like I thought she did in the first place. It is the opinion of this court that there has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be presented. Just one. If you are unable to establish her guilt, then I'm afraid the very harsh verdict will immediately be handed down on Mr. Wright. I understand, Your Honour. I can just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar. She was planning to poison Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there. Well then, Miss Fay, please present your evidence. Show to this court irrefutable proof that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison Mr. Wright. Here it is, Your Honour. The evidence that will prove her guilt once and for all. Cold Killer X. Phoenix Wright's beloved cold medicine. Does our rookie defence attorney have a bit of a cold? If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned. What? Remember what the defendant said in his testimony? But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. She was the one who took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some. Now you're really grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine. I would like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence? Huh? What are you talking about? 8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle necklace. which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room. My client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. That is when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poisoned bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Wright. I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant. Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and the victim were arguing about and the cut electrical cable. That's when she realised I can't allow Doug Swallow to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this is when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought she had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. And on top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. It's hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying that bottle of poisoned cold medicine. She must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago? 8 months ago? Excuse you out there. Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way as she did back then. She had someone else hold it. In this case, Doug Swallow. Oh, come on now, everyone. Surely you aren't fooled, are you? This stupid woman, she's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? Huh? Yes, that's exactly right. It's just pure desperation.
Objection!
I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne, this cold medicine, I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some. Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? If I'm just a filthy, stinking liar, then there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of this medicine right now. Maya Fey. Mia Fey. Not Maya, Mia. Oh, do you think you've won? Well, do you, Mia Fey? That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours. For the time being. Well, I have a very long memory, you know. You and I will meet again. I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later too, okay? Why, yes. I'm going to go spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best. Okay. Phew. It's finally all over. I refuse to accept this. The defence hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support their outrageous claim. But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it. I don't care. I'm Winston Payne, and I don't believe one word that this rookie lawyer has said. Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this. Yes? Would you care to try this cold medicine? What? Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said... There. It's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust this witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. So if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure there couldn't possibly be any poison in there, right? Well, you see, yes. And here comes the back pedal. Come on now, rookie killer. Show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life? Okay. Are we going to get a not guilty? Mr. Payne, how about Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? Yes, Your Honour. I'll file papers for her immediate arrest. Tragic, but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about her from the very beginning. Don't lie, just admit you were wrong. By the way, Miss Fay. Yes, Your Honour. Was it just me, or did you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne seem to know each other? Well, kinda did, I guess. Your Honour, whether we did or not has no bearing on this case. Very well. Mr. Payne, this can't be happening. It's a nightmare. It's like losing to my daughter. It appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Does the defendant have anything further to say? It can't be true. My dear Dolly. Very well then. I believe I am ready to pass judgment and bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Woohoo! Okay. This court is adjourned, so we should get now the wrap-up scenes. Okay. Mia, you were wonderful in there. Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg. During the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount Vesuvius. Okay. Mr. Grossberg, do you, maybe think you could stop talking about them? Thank you, Mia. That's rather rude. Anyway, this case really made me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship of mutual trust with the client? Perhaps it is we veteran lawyers who have lost sight of this. Oh, Mr. Wright. Congratulations. Thanks. You know, I'm thinking. Go on. The dolly I saw up there on the witness stand, I don't think that was really her. What? Yeah, the dolly I know could never have said those kinds of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something. Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake. Yeah, you're right. That's probably for the best. Also, you need to relax a little more. Try to grow up a little. But, out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up. What kind of company does this guy keep? Right now, I'm studying to become a lawyer myself. That's what you keep saying. But I thought you were in the art department. Well, yeah, I am. But there's a friend that I desperately want to help. And if I hurry, then I should still be able to save him in time. I see. Say, Miss Fay, a lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right? Mr. Wright, I'm still new at this myself. But I think that's exactly what a lawyer is. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'll study my butt off. I'll become a lawyer for sure. I hope we see each other again someday. Maybe even in court. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned and managed to save my friend. But Mia has passed on to a better place. for me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories that I thought never rise to the surface again. Mia is gone now. But even so, I can hear her in my mind. Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your client. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief. 5 long years. Something has happened that made me think back to her words of wisdom. But that is a story for another day. Okay, so we've got a new episode. That was another achievement unlocked. I'm going to leave it there. We're going to save. We're going to go and see if there's anyone we can raid super quick before I leave for this evening. So let's go look. And then I'm going to try and get an earlier stream in tomorrow, just because I'm teaching tomorrow night. So that will be yeah, I'll be out tomorrow, so it's probably going to be a very early sort of afternoon stream. Okay, so we're going to raid Brian. He's going to be right back by the looks of it right now. We'll pop in, we'll raid, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow afternoon. Bye.